Welcome to the Inner Reboot with Sam and Heidi, your weekly pit stop to shake off the stress, laugh at life's plot twists and recharge your mindset. Because let's be honest, transformation doesn't have to be boring or involve 75 different types of smoothie.
So grab a drink, smoothies if you must, and join us for the wins, the fails and the awkward bits, because sometimes the biggest breakthroughs start with an inner reboot and occasionally forgetting why you even walked into the room.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I am dying
You're
of a
not good.
cold, but that's
You're
fine.
not good.
I'm fine. That's fine. We carry on anyway. We carry on. Yeah, if I cough or sniff, I apologise now. So, podcast today is about talking complete and utter shite with each other.
It is. The benefits of talking nonsense. Or I don't even think it's just talking, but it's like just letting your thoughts and your brain sort of whirl around out loud, written down, any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
And the benefits of that, like how much good stuff comes from that.
it really does. And the reason we thought about actually even why would this even be a podcast topic in the first place is because we did we had a moment, didn't we, a few weeks ago where we were sort of, I don't know, reminiscing about when we first had these conversations around what, I don't know, at lunch or going for a walk or whatever for a break, and just having these really random conversations about everything and anything that actually led us to here. I think that's
Yeah.
why it's so important to talk about just anything you want, like nonsense, because some of the best ideas come out of the most random conversations, or we've found they have.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think some of our biggest sort of, not light bulb moments, but like where we've been like, oh, that's a good idea, or yeah, let's try that, have come after we've probably been together for a good chunk of time and we've talked absolute nonsense. We've not gone in to really focus in on that specific problem we're trying to solve or anything like that. And it's just like, you sort of end up at that point of, oh, why haven't we thought about that before? That's a great idea. Or like, or sometimes it's just, that sounds really interesting. That's genius. Why, why are we not exploring that more?
Yeah.
And that only comes from letting your brains wander in the conversation.
Yeah, it's letting the creativity flow. And I think we're both very good at that anyway, because we do bounce a lot of ideas off each other. But I think
we just talk shit all the time.
this is true.
Really good at just talking absolute
do
nonsense.
We do that a lot. But we've had some amazing ideas. Well, actually, first off, we wouldn't be sitting here now if we hadn't have done that. So that's the first
No.
point. I guess the second point is I think it gave us space to understand our worth, actually, and what we're really good at, and what we really don't like doing, and what really pisses us off, and what really kind of gives you that pit feeling in your stomach. And I think those moments when we would have that time together to just talk and bounce ideas off each other just gives you a new spring in your step, that motivation and the energy towards actually we can do something with this because we're really good in this arena, and actually that's what we're going to do. So it's almost not having a plan.
Not having a plan. And they often started from a real sense of frustration or a real sense of overwhelm or a real like feeling of, oh, like what am I doing? Like what's happening here? And then you sort of vent. That gives you space to vent. That gives you space to like ramble on about that. But then it also allows your brain to go, oh, but what if it looked different? Like, what if, because sometimes when you're in a situation or an environment that isn't what you want it to be and you're frustrated by it, often you're frustrated because you already know what you would prefer it to look like or what the idea would be or what it could look like if you had the opportunity to change things. And really frustration only comes when we can't do that, like, or when it's out of our control. And so by continuing the conversation to go to that place, it's almost like so when you're a child and like fantasies, isn't it? Like in terms of like, or like your big wild ambitions and dreams as a child, because you have no boundaries and no like reality of what is and isn't possible. And
Yeah,
so
that's true.
you sort of, whereas I think as adults we can often stop ourselves because we can go, oh, but we can't do that because of this and we can't do that because of this. But if you forget about all of that and just live in this little dream world for a little bit and go, well, if it's like if I was Prime Minister, I'd do X, Y, and Z. Like, and I think that's where a lot of our conversations were. Like, this really didn't feel right, or I really didn't enjoy that. So what would it be like if I did?
Mm. It's like putting the world to rights, isn't it? It's interesting, actually, your point about children. Like, they're so imaginative. And so what happens to us? Like, we basically live in this amazing place where dreams are possible and anything can be done. And then all of a sudden we grow up and we're conformed to what we should be doing. And yeah, it's so boring,
What
isn't
happens
it?
to us?
What happens to
What
us?
happens to us?
Do you know, I
And
think
when does
most of
that-
those conversations that you were talking about venting, most of those conversations, by the way, I'll let you know now, that we had where we were venting conversations was mainly stopping me from being thrown in jail for murder. I'm not going to lie. Because there were definitely moments when I was like, I'm going to kill someone. Yeah. So
Yeah,
really powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, jokes aside, obviously not, but very powerful in terms of giving the soul space to grab a bit of energy and be happy, I think, is how I would describe them.
It's like escapism, wasn't it? And I think for us, there was part of that, which was like, we needed to see an alternate world where we could use, like, everything worked and we could use our skills and we could be doing the things like that really were satisfying, that brought us joy. And I think it was almost made more obvious. And I think this also becomes a danger trap. So for me, particularly I think this happens to everybody. You are frustrated by the things of when it's not going how or you can't use your skill set, or you are not doing the things that make you happy in terms of what you're delivering. And then you get the snippets where it is like that. And you're like, oh, actually, we're turning a corner. Like, this is happening. I can see a world where I'm spending more of my time delivering and doing the job that I'm happy doing, or the work or the task, whatever it is. And then an hour later, you realise that was just a moment in time, and your world has still stayed the same. And 90% of the time,
it was a hoax.
Yeah.
It's not real.
But then what it does is highlights it, because you come out of those, either it's a meeting or a workshop, or after delivering something, some training or anything, you come out and you're like, oh my God, like, that's the feeling, like, that's the thing that I want. And then that sort of enables you, I guess, to do some of that dreaming stuff. Because if you don't do that, then you are just accepting that you don't get to do that very often, and your reality is your reality. Whereas I think if you don't air it, you don't talk about it, you don't know where that conversation is going to lead to, and therefore what actions that would lead to. Because I think if we didn't talk about the things that frustrated us, if we didn't have those moments when we was working together going, oh, but actually today was all right, today was a good day, and it was a good day because of X, Y, and Z, we then wouldn't have been able to really wrap that up and go, oh, that's what I need, that's what I want to do. So how can we do that?
I think it was those short bursts of a dopamine hit that you get that then brings you all of that energy to be able to kind of keep going with it, and then be like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. Well, why is it important for right now? I guess is because we're in a slightly different place now. We've been through that stage of like, let's talk nonsense and see what comes out of it, and have all of these great creative ideas. Okay, let's take the plunge and do it. And now we're in that weird space of like, what do we do now?
Well, but I also think, like, if you take it back one step, that like, from ideas and like the dreaming of, if everything was great and we didn't have to worry about lots of boring, serious adult stuff like paying our bills and like living life, we knew that we would go in to do that immediately. But there was that period of time, and I think this bit is the bit that's really important. And I wish I had heard more people talking about it, probably for a really long time. There was that period where you've got those months of like, okay, but how do we actually make this work? Can I take the risk? Can I not take the risk? How, like, the sort of perception that people only are able to take the risk if they're really financially secure, or if they've got like another opportunity that they can fall back onto. And we just didn't have either.
So hang on, remind me again why we did this. Like, consulting is a lie, and we had none of those things in place. Basically, is my memory of the situation.
Yes, but and so that period was a long period. Like, and I think I had this massive perception that people go, like, for other people, and it's always easy to do that, isn't it? Like, the sort of perception is they've either been given a bulk load of money so they're more comfortable, or they can take the risk, or they've what you hear all of the time, which used to really infuriate me and probably infuriates me more now, is like, well, just do the thing. Like, if you want to set up you see it all the time on social media, like, oh, the biggest, I get it, the biggest risk you take is staying still and not trying the new thing, but it makes it seem like a really, like, non-decision thing to do. Like, oh, just do the thing. You never know what's going to happen. But actually, that takes a chunk of time to really work through a load of that stuff. And we also had to make sure we was in the right position, or the same position at the same time, to make that decision together as well. So yes, I think it was like dreaming big ideas and what it could be that we were so clear on and so sure on, and still are. Then there was that, like, but can we actually do it? And how do we actually do it? And is it possible? And, like, how do people make such a big leap? Like, how do you do that? And then we hit the, like, okay, we've made the decision, because actually life for us, like, if we don't do it, then you don't do it. All of those reasons, like, so many reasons. And now we're in it. And it's like,
but now we're like, oh shit.
Exactly. But also now we're in it, and it's like,
help.
What the realization that nothing is not as simple, because I didn't ever think it would be simple, is straightforward, because we know how to do the thing we want to do, and the business that we're operating, and the services we provide, and the training we deliver, and all of that stuff. We can do the business, like, in terms of the actual delivering the products and training, like, standing on our head, because that's our thing. Like, that's our expertise.
Yeah.
That's why we've done it. What we are not is all of the other things that you need in order to
Which
run
we
the
found
business.
out quite quickly, of like,
And
oh
very
my
quickly.
God, we need to leverage social media. We need to become marketeers. We need to become digital technical experts. We
I've
need
got
to
to work out
become
how to run our accounts.
financial experts, accountants. And, it just, it's so overwhelming. And I think we're right in that messy middle right now, actually. I think we're there.
Yes.
We've entered this world of, okay, we've pretty much figured out how to do a podcast, which is great. We're sat here now. But then it's like, okay, well, what do we do with Instagram? Do we need to use TikTok, or should we not use TikTok? How
do we get people to listen to the podcast? Because we've got the podcast up there, but how do we expand that reach? Like, how do we do anything that isn't the thing that we're selling, basically? Like, it's all the other stuff. The business. Yeah. And the only way that we make and have made any headway on any of that is actually very rarely sitting down and going, right, today we need to work through how we're going to make social media work, or how we're going to, like, leverage these things. A lot of the time it is throughout another conversation.
Yeah.
For example, as we hit record to record this episode of the podcast, we had to then press stop on record, because we'd spent 45 minutes actually ended up talking about what we're going to do about our social media.
Which, again, it is those, I think for us, definitely, we've found a way of planning and structuring things in is clearly not the way that we work at our best. We've figured that one out, which is great.
Just by trying and wasting multiple amounts of energy doing so.
We've tried to shoehorn ourselves into Monday.com and calendars and agendas.
I think I've tried everything. I think I've tried Planner, I've tried Notion, I've tried Monday.com, I've tried a Microsoft whiteboard, and this actually will work. I've got a bit of brown paper on my wall instead of a whiteboard. Like, because it's almost like you want the structure so that your brain feels in order, but neither of us know the detail of the thing we're doing because we've never done it
No,
before. So you can't create
exactly.
structure.
Yeah. So the point being, those really odd, out of the blue conversations that just start to flow is where we get that from. And that's what we do really well. Hence the last 45 minutes where we were just chatting about stuff.
And now I've got 10
and
actions and it's great.
exactly. And it does work. So I suppose the point of this is to say, don't think that those odd random conversations are not beneficial, because they really are. Because if they weren't, we wouldn't be here now. We wouldn't have got as far as we have, and we wouldn't now be in this stage of going, how do we navigate all of this? Like, sometimes it's about, let's just sit and chat and figure it out together and actually have an idea and try it. And that's the other thing that I think we've done quite well, is like, let's just try it and find out. If it doesn't work, fail fast, and move on, learn from it, move on. And that's it, try the next thing. And I think that's one thing that I think we're quite good at. We're very good at recognising if something's not working, we're like, oh dear, maybe not do that.
Try something else. Don't do that again. Yes. And I think it's also similar to last week's episode where, I think it was last week, when we were talking about strengths. It's been really incredibly helpful for us to know so much about ourselves in terms of our self-awareness I certainly have still fallen into those traps all of the time of like, well, I should be doing this and I should be able to do that. And why can't I put everything down on a monday.com board and know that I've got everything structured and organised? Like, I should be able to do that. All of these other people can. And actually, it's not how I work. It's not how my brain works. It's not how you work. But on the flip side, you may be somebody where that is exactly how you plan things out and how things work. But I still, even if that's the case and you're really clear that this is your destination and this is exactly how you're going to get there, the conversations and the seeing where things go is still absolutely worthwhile, because you might learn something that you hadn't thought about in your plan. So it might not change your plan, but it might just add another stop, or it might just like adapt the sequencing or something like that. Like, I think insight and knowledge and awareness is so important and probably not given the space and credibility it deserves in terms of the impact it can have. Because the flip is you become really rigid and then you're not aware of changes that you might need to make along the way.
Yeah,
and I think we're trying to be somewhere in the middle of that. We're trying to sort of
we are, yeah,
know what we need. Like, I think we know what we need and we know what our gaps are. We definitely know what our gaps are. And so then we're trying to go, right, okay, what's the first step in that? How do we get to point A? And then how do we get to point B? And then eventually, through trial and error, we should get to where we need to be. Or the destination might change as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Talking about when you said like that being quite rigid, it's like we've been given advice, haven't we, historically, from somebody that was like, find your thing and stick to it.
Yeah.
Which I really, really genuinely believe. And I think it's a really good piece of advice, because it does stop you going off on lots of different tangents, and it makes what you set out to do very credible. If what you do is your thing and that's what people know you for, that's amazing. And we do know that part of it. But what we didn't anticipate, I suppose, was all of the other moving components that are going to be swimming around that all of the time.
Yeah.
Which is all of the other stuff that we're navigating to get traction and get where we need to be. So it has been a massive learning curve. I feel a bit as well like I've bashed monday.com a little bit, and that was not my intention at all, because actually when you sent me the link for that the other day, I literally had a bit of an oh shit moment. As I was like, oh God, I'm back in an organisation. I feel petrified again. Just because actually
I've done nothing with it since.
No, the thing is, though, as you know, I'm literally as technologically challenged as a dead pigeon. So anything like that for me literally just instills the fear of God in me. But when I've worked with people that have leveraged it, I've seen the most amazing things, like the most amazing boards and the most productive teams and the most high performing teams. So it proves it works. It's an absolutely fantastic tool, but it's not the way that my mind works. So I'm almost like at a battle with it all the time of like, I'm trying to shoehorn my energy and my way of working into a completely opposite thing that I can't conceptualize it. Like it doesn't, it's
Do
so
you know what's
alien to me.
really interesting? And bearing in mind, like, I don't know how this conversation is only just coming up on the podcast as we're recording, because I was like, in my head, I was like, right, if I put these buckets down, it will help. Like, I was trying to do that as like a helpful thing. And I know myself so well, and I know that that is not going to help me. But in that moment, it was almost like trying to force a bit of like containment. But
Yeah.
also, as I was creating it, I was like, oh, but when we worked at where we worked before and we worked together, I remember you saying like, in a previous organisation, you used it and you had all the links in there, and it was like your go-to place where you opened it up in the morning. And I was like, oh, so she's completely got this down. So this will, if I send this to her, she's going to be like, oh, absolutely, Heidi, like this is going to be great. Like we are sorted now. Thanks for starting it. And then like you're just happy. But little did I know that is probably because that structure come from the team that you was within
It did.
and the environment you was in, and also because I think that's the difference, isn't it? If everyone's using it, and it becomes part of your culture, not just typically Monday.com. Also, not being sponsored by Monday.com in any way, shape or form, if anybody ever thinks anything. But if you use any tool like that and everyone's using it, it becomes part of your culture, it's so much easier to adopt it. Whereas if you're not and you don't operate in that way, what you've said has just massively hit the nail on the head, which is why it doesn't work for me at all, even though I keep trying, because my brain doesn't work like that, but I think mine's more trying to contain my thoughts because we're across so many things at the moment and trying to get so many things ticking over and so many things like nudging forward. There's no structure to anything we're doing and no routine to it in terms of like, apart from the podcast, we need to get this out here and we need to do this, and there's no like scheduling of anything. I think I was trying to think like, I think I get more concerned that I'm going to drop the ball or lose an idea or forget about it or forget about what the next step is, which is why actually I have found it so much more helpful since I've just gone back to brown paper on my wall and a notebook, rather than like, I'm not a project manager for a reason. Like there's a very good reason I'm not a project manager, and therefore I should probably not go near any project management tools ever to have existed. And I shouldn't use any digital tools to try and do the like tracking and mapping of workload, and because it just doesn't, it's not the same as writing it.
Yeah, it doesn't, you're not energized by that. That's why. It's
No.
simply what it is. There's
Not
no energy
energized.
there. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I definitely.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I filled you with dread on Monday
I-
when you got my
no,
email
I
request
literally-
for a Monday.com board.
historically, because I did share with you that I used it for quite a number of years actually with a historic team a while back. But I did have to go on like a crash course with a colleague that was clearly very good at all of that side of things. And I was like, you're literally going to have to sit with me for 2 hours and he kind of just went through the high level bits that I would need and left all the other stuff alone. What was really interesting was this is somebody that knew me quite well, because I think I've been working with him by then for probably a year and a half or so. And we had quite a small team at the time. Just gave me a crash course of like, actually, knowing what you're going to use it for, I'm just going to tell you how to navigate those things. And that was really beneficial. But as the team expanded and this became the tool that we were using, I saw the most fantastical things come out of it. And it was amazing that there was some really analytical people in the team, some really like detailed sort of agenda orientated people, I would say, that were getting so much out of it. But it did work for everybody. I just think I have a weird relationship with it because it does remind me of being in an organisation.
In an organisation, yeah.
I think for me, I'm really good with to-do lists and stuff. But again, see, all of that is on paper. I wouldn't actually use an app or anything like that. It has to be on paper. But I think
I try too many times.
I think getting your ideas out in whatever format suits you, I suppose, is the point of what we're saying, is actually don't let anything stop you. It can be, any vehicle. It can be a brown piece of paper on the wall. It can be a notepad. It can be an app that you're using, whatever it is, it's like let the ideas flow and actually go with them. And I think one of the things we're finding at the minute is almost like not having a strict agenda is actually helping, because I feel like we're leaning into the flow of what we're doing. We're leaning into the creativity. We're leaning into experimentation. So actually, let's just try it and fail fast. We're leaning into slowly navigating and understanding actually the place in the market and, who our audience is and all of that stuff, which of course is beneficial. So yeah, I think it's I suppose the point of this whole thing is chat shit, give it a whirl, and fail fast. I suppose those are the three.
And then try something else and try again.
Something else.
I think also it's not even it's what you've just said there as well. It's like the getting it out. Like I feel so much better as soon as and this isn't even just for ideas and seeing when you'll get to, I think it's just generally probably a good life skill that I'm slowly learning, is just getting it out, because it will come so the other day I was literally walking with the kids and I had an idea and I videoed myself. I literally just done a video because it was the quickest way for me to say what was in my head and get it out. And so I've got a video on my phone of just me like that, like a really funny angle.
Is there a view of your nostrils?
Probably is a view of my nostrils. Just blurting something out because it was an idea I had that I know I need to capture. What I do need to be aware of is that I've got multiple ideas in multiple different places that I don't collate or capture. But then part of me thinks, well, maybe that's also okay, because if it is something that's got traction, I will come back to it and I will find it. Like,
as long as you remember where it is.
Well,
yeah. We did say this morning actually that we need a ideas bank or repository or something where we can put all this great stuff, because the thing with us is we do have a lot of ideas and there is loads of creativity there. The issue is the time. So we can't do every single idea every time because there's just too much. But I think having a bank of it, a piggy bank, to be able to go back to and say, actually, that was a really cool idea. We've got a bit of headspace. Let's have a think through that now. Is great.
Yes, I think there's probably two problems with our creativity at times, which is the non-agenda thing, I think, is such a valid point. And I was just thinking back to on Monday when it was our day together, and I think we had roughly something we was going to talk about, but then we got talking, was having a cup of tea and got talking. Then I was like, I had an idea over the weekend, and literally you were like, oh no, like, uh-oh, like we've got enough on our plate. Uh-oh. But that turned out to be, that conversation that then happened for 45 minutes turned out to be like probably one of our biggest breakthroughs that we've had so far in terms of some of our challenges we've been facing.
Yeah.
And so I do think the lack of agenda is finding that balance, isn't it? Because you don't want to lose your way completely. And so I think if you're grounded in sticking to your lane, but don't have an agenda or it's loose, you can navigate that really well. But I think the challenge we have probably together is we're very similar in some ways. We're not in others, but in terms of like creativity and new ideas and thinking like, what could we do, and getting excited by the new shiny things. I definitely need, in order to execute, I need to be like, right, okay, this is like, we've got to do this, and this. Like, I almost need that step by step, a bit like being told how to use Monday.com. Like, as soon as somebody can be like, I'm going to break down this massive thing.
Yeah.
And these are the things you need to do, that's much easier. Or like, as soon as I've got a deadline, or as soon as we've decided that we're literally going to go with something, I can then get really heads down into doing it. But I do think our risk is, or our potential risk is, because we're not project managers and because we don't like to organise everything and track everything, we have like endless amounts of time. And so if we're not careful, and I think we've been really good at it today, but I think there have been moments where we're like, oh yeah, we'll do this, do that. And then it's sort of like, no,
we've achieved nothing.
We've had brilliant conversations.
Too many plates spinning.
Yes. And it's not that we've not achieved anything, but I think sometimes it's like, okay, but what's the thing we're going to focus on now and actually get done and across the line? If we're not careful, I think sometimes it's getting things across the line, because either we've run out of steam, or sometimes we're like, oh, but actually maybe this thing will be better, so we'll try that thing, which is fine if that is the case, or it's not fine if we're just avoiding getting some of the other things over the line because they've got a bit
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah. So I think we are currently in the messy middle that we talk about all of the time,
Very much in the messy
but
middle.
in a
I think,
different way, in a not in a I don't know what my goals are, etc. Because there's many different versions of being stuck in the middle. I think we're there from we've had a great idea, we've come on a journey, we took the plunge, we've implemented some really cool stuff. We know we've got a lot more to do, but we're kind of now, oh, how do we make clarity all of this? What do we prioritize? What do we need to unlearn and relearn? Because I think that's something actually that I've figured out quite quickly. There's been a lot of unlearning and relearning to do.
yeah,
Just
definitely.
to keep our heads above water, because technology, social media, everything changes so quickly, so quickly. And obviously, you know, I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I'm nearly half a century old. That's outrageous.
Dinosaur over there.
Good grief. So for me, definitely, there's been a lot of like unlearning and relearning and figuring out like, why do I need this? You know, and why do I not need it? And what do I need to do differently? So yeah, I suppose it's really important to talk about these things and understand that actually it isn't plain sailing. And despite what we see sometimes around people go on, you know, you might watch a reel of somebody's journey and that journey looks so straightforward, you know,
Yeah.
from them making a decision to, oh, look, here I am now. But nobody really shares with you the mess that you
The
have to go
depths of the
through,
middle.
the failures that you have to make, and actually quite a lot of giant leaps that can sometimes be a bit painful that you have to go through to get to that point. So I suppose that's what we're trying to share, isn't it, actually? It isn't all plain sailing, and it's bloody hard work sometimes.
Yeah, and I think like not just, I think nearly everything has like a messy middle. Like before we decided to do this, I was very much in the messy middle of like big life choices, I guess, in terms of like, where am I? What do I want to do? Like I feel a bit lost and I'm not quite sure. And everyone else seems to have their shit together and know exactly what they want to do. And I don't. And also as we've just discussed, I'm not very good at being really clear of mapping out like how I get from here to there. And that always used to feel really overwhelming and really daunting. Like and get really frustrating. Like I know that's where I want to be, but I just don't know how to do it. And I think that's what's made doing this with you has made that bit so much easier from a
Mm.
work perspective. But I think it happens and it comes up in so many parts of our lives where it's like, this really is a messy. I really don't know what's happening next. I don't know what to do next. I don't know where to, like, what action is the right action. And I guess part of it is trusting the process. Part of it is, well, regardless of whether I make the right or the wrong decision, I will have made a decision. And then
Yeah.
I'll be at the next bit
Mm.
to make another decision. And like everything is messy and it's learning to be okay with it. And we like, Christ, our job is to talk about helping people develop, and a lot of that will come to people going, right, well, I need my development plan, and I need to I need my actions so that I can get to this place, which is all well and good. And I think like plans have their absolute place, but also it doesn't matter if you don't have that plan, if you've got a
Yes.
rough idea of, because I think
Agree.
if we have in our minds, and we've talked about like some aspects of this, but if we're like, well, I know roughly that I want to be there, like those things are important to me. I want to feel like this, and I want to, like, if you know how you want things to look and feel and be, you can then just start making micro changes to get there.
Mhm.
And I think for some people, hearing that and understanding that's really important, because I think our world tends to operate in much more of a, well, I know I want to do this, become this person or a specialist in this, or I want to buy this or have this. And therefore, I'm going to do this 3 times a week and that's going to get me there. And actually, that just isn't, because sometimes you don't even know what the 3 times a week thing is.
No.
Like, there's so many unknowns. There's so many unknowns. And I think it's okay to be in that and learn to sit in that a little bit as well and not just have all the
Yeah.
answers.
Actually, that's a really good point. I think that what you're saying around learn to sit in it is true, but also to give yourself permission to do it, because I think very
Mm.
often we do beat ourselves up slightly around we should be doing this and we haven't done that yet and what, but yeah, it's about giving yourself permission to take the time to sit in it and figure it out and, understand what does that feel like and what does it mean to me and can I take something from it? Can I do anything with it? So yeah, a lot of it, especially I think mine definitely comes down to giving myself permission to being in that space. I'm not very good at that, which is something I'm
Mm.
trying to work on.
Yeah. And I think
Mm,
that's the thing as well, isn't it? It's like it's like recognizing the things that cause you discomfort or come
mm,
up time and time again as like a challenge, and have that self-awareness so that then you can start to do something differently to help them. Like mine's definitely, I just want I want to fix everything. I want a solution for everything and I want it immediately. So like as soon as something's feels tricky or like I don't know how to do something, I either want to find out how to be able to do that straight away or I want to take the pain away instantly. And particularly in what we've been doing, I can't just do that. Like,
mm.
and so I'm really having to learn that. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's obvious that that probably is the reality for a lot of people in like in
Mm.
life. I don't think that's obvious.
No, I don't think it's obvious at all. I think we think a lot of things are plain sailing, and actually they're not. So it's good to talk about it and good to understand where we are, what we're doing. The pain, sometimes it is painful, sometimes it's scary, and other times it's absolutely exhilarating. It's
Yeah.
it is really good fun.
Well, there's definitely been so much more exciting. Like this definitely, like, and I think that's the other thing, isn't it? Looking at the balance, like this has definitely been like the best thing
Mm,
and the most exciting thing and the most
yeah,
rewarding thing,
yeah,
and but it's also been the scariest thing, and it's
yeah,
also been the um like most worrying thing probably. But in terms of when you look at where we're trying to get to and where we will get to, that's worth it. Like
yeah.
all of that stuff is worth it.
It's definitely worth it. 100%. Yeah, still here, still going strong.
Still here, still going strong. And also, there are people in the world that just don't overthink anything. And I just
Mm.
would love to
I'm
just,
very
I think that
jealous
would,
of
like,
those
you know,
people.
like when people are like, what superpower would you have? I think probably I'd choose like a quiet brain.
A quiet brain.
Yeah.
Mm,
That I could turn on because I
yeah.
think it'd get quite boring as well. I think I'd be quite bored.
I don't
If,
know what my superpower would be, actually. I've always said like an invisibility cloak or something, but just because it would be fun to, go mess with people, like take all
yeah,
their
make them
left
jump.
shoes or something. But yeah, I don't know what I don't know what mine would be. Uh,
Mad shit. Take everyone's left shoes. Imagine.
that's what I would do. Yeah, it'd be funny. It's actually just it's good sometimes just to share some of they're not even pain points, are they? They're
I
just
just sometimes it feels quite heavy. Like it's a heaviness
yeah,
sometimes if you're not aware of it. But I think
yeah,
if you're aware of it, but also can see it in other people or hear
yeah.
about it, it just
Let's talk about it.
lessens it a little bit
Yeah,
in terms of like makes it feel a bit more normal
yeah.
and makes it feel less overwhelming, less scary.
Mhm.
And it's like something you can do something about. You don't
Yeah.
have to just sit in it. You don't have to, it's good to sit in it, but you don't have to feel the heaviness of it, I think.
Well, yeah, but you also don't have to stay there. If it's uncomfortable, get out.
Yeah.
Move on to something else.
Well, and to bring us back, that's what I have found most helpful. So even if it's just not talking about things, like the other day, there was, you know, when you've got like a nugget of an idea, sorry, I will just finish on this, but you know, when you've got like a nugget of an idea or you've got something that's bothering you
Yeah.
or you don't know how to fix something. The other day, I just literally got my notebook out, not to journal, but I got my notebook out and I just started writing down like the things I was thinking about, literally what I was thinking. And then before long, that turned into potential solutions. And then before long, that turned into a bit of an action plan. And that literally was like 10 minutes of me just jotting down what was going on in my head.
Hmm.
And I haven't actioned those things because actually, now that I've got them out there, I don't even think it's a priority or anything like major. But in the moment, it was just whirring round and round and round. It's like
Yeah.
a thought loop that I couldn't break. And so I think it is just getting them out, whether it's productive or not, whether it's helpful, whether it leads anywhere, whether it doesn't, it's getting it out.
Yeah. So it's either air it, have a conversation with somebody, write it down, do whatever, but just get it out.
Yeah. Dump
Mhm.
it. Just
Yeah.
brain dump it somewhere.
I agree.
So yeah. You
Brilliant.
never know. You never know what will happen.
Some great things will come. We all know that. Great
Indeed.
things come out of the most random conversations. It's
They do,
brilliant.
literally they do. I'm
Mhm.
sure our first conversation probably started off as the most ridiculous one ever
Probably.
that
And
started it.
probably
I have no
started
doubt.
with, how do we become millionaires?
Probably.
Probably. Win the lottery. That's buy a lottery ticket. Brilliant.
Probably.
Okay. I'm actually going to go and blow my nose now because I feel like I need to.
Lovely. Enjoy that.
So thank you very
And I
much.
hope you feel better soon. Goodbye.
Bye.
Let me